Welcome to This Week in Astrology. This is episode number 683 for November 1 through 15, 2025. First, big thanks to everyone who answered my survey on when I should publish my astrology forecasts. 63% want me to keep sharing them on the 1st and 16th of each month, so that's what I will do. And given the chaotic times we're in, I'm adding the dwarf planet Eris to my planetary lineup. These interpretations focus on major events and larger themes. In the show notes, I link to the day-by-day event listing in my written forecast. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm your host, Benjamin Bernstein. I record these forecasts as an audio podcast and a video, so take your pick. The video version includes detailed chart graphics, which you can also see in my written forecasts at astroshaman.com. Be sure to subscribe to This Week in Astrology, and if you haven't already, be sure to click the link in the show notes for 2 chances to win a free Astrology Plus session with me each month. Look for section titles in the show notes so you can jump right to the section you want. As of November 1st, we have a waxing moon, some continuing aspect patterns, and 3 retrograde planets, Saturn, Chiron, and Uranus. See details and links to all this in the show notes. Let's start with a full moon. That's at 13 degrees, 22 minutes Taurus. It brightens the sky on November 5th at 8:19 a.m. EST. Any full moon is good for release or adjustment. This Taurus full moon is optimized for changes in resources, finances, and your material foundations. Also, are you gaining enough pleasure from your 5 human senses? Are you persevering where appropriate, rather than staying the course because it's what you've always done? Are you spending enough time in nature or just being? This lunation is lightly aspected. The only aspect pattern is a T-square with the moon, sun, and Pallas Athena. The warrior goddess can help you be assertive when necessary, but she can get what she wants using subtler methods than a more masculine warrior like Mars. Pallas wonders if, rather than launching a screaming frontal assault, you can use cleverness and cunning to accomplish your goals. She also supports your use of negotiation, mediation, and other win-win modalities. Finally, her placement in Aquarius invites you to try innovative methods and let your intuitive hits lead you. The moon semi-square Piscean Neptune can fire up your spiritual awakening and inspired creativity. The moon's Taurean energy can also combine with Neptune to support embodied awakening and law of attraction work. You can learn more about embodied awakening by checking out my free invocations at astroshaman.com/invocations. That's also linked in the show notes. The full moon's final aspect is a magical quintile with Jupiter. The quintile is a fairy dust aspect, while Jupiter can bring jollity and expansion. And Jupiter in Cancer supports big, happy emotions. This full moon Sabian symbol is, on the beach, children play while shellfish grope at the edge of the water. In this symbol, the children are doing their thing and the shellfish are doing theirs. Matters can remain harmonious as long as each tends to their own business. Are you staying in your lane or getting sidetracked? When each of us focuses on our soul mission, whatever our consciousness, things flow better. Next, Mercury turns retrograde on November 9th at 2:02 p.m. EST. That's around 7 degrees Sagittarius. It turns direct again on November 29th at 12:39 p.m. That'll be around 21 degrees Scorpio. As always, Mercury retrograde is better for reflection than new action, although it's a great time for repairs and completing what you've already started. If possible, delay major purchases and contract signings until Mercury is direct. Travel and communication may be more challenging than usual, so double-check your arrangements. Take care that you clearly understand what you're being told and are being properly understood, and back up important data. Mercury is in Sagittarius the first 9 days of its retrograde. This is an especially good time to reflect on the Archer's many themes. Are you soaking in higher level wisdom or serving as a wisdom giver? Are you living life as a bold adventure? Are you exploring new territory internally or externally? Are you living expansively and contemplating the meaning of life? And are you reveling in joy and celebration? Mercury spends the rest of its retrograde in Scorpio. It backpedals into this sign on November 18 at 10:21 p.m. EST. This is a wonderful time to contemplate Scorpio's themes. Are you diving deep into positive personal transformation? Are you embracing wealth and power in ways that benefit both you and others? Are you engaging in life-affirming occult practices? You're obviously doing this to some degree since you're taking in this astrology forecast. Are you enjoying a healthy sex life, and does it include ecstatic soul blending? Finally, when an old trauma gets stirred up, are you using a quick and effective DIY technique to heal it once and for all? If not, I heartily recommend my free healing invocation, which has your higher self do the healing for you. That's linked in the show notes or at astroshaman.com/invocations. And outer planet changing signs is always astrological headline news. After spending about 7 years in Taurus, Uranus poked his nose into Gemini on July 7th. You can read more about that with the link in the show notes. But on November 7th, he's retrograding back into the sign of the Bull. His Taurean farewell tour will last about 6 months. Then on April 25th of 2026, he'll settle into Gemini for about 7 years. This is a cuspy time, with Uranus expressing through both signs, but his Taurian expressions will obviously be stronger while he's in that sign one last time. At first blush, the differences between Uranus and Taurus would seem to make this a difficult placement. Uranus loves revolution, paradigm shift, and quick change. Taurus can be stubborn to a fault. Its motto can be, "The devil I know is better than the devil I don't know." Undoubtedly, we'll experience some of this irresistible force meets immovable object dynamic with Uranus and Taurus, but harmonious common ground can always be found between astrological archetypes. Here are some life-affirming combinations of these energies. Fly your freak flag, bringing the fullness of your unique human self into grounded everyday manifestation. Follow the guidance of your intuitive flashes in your daily life. Take a fresh look at your relationship with money and possessions. Are you primarily motivated by the accumulation of wealth? What would your life look like if you prioritized your authentic individual expression, followed your intuitive flashes, and served others using your special gifts that you most love to use? Most of us need income to survive. Can you revolutionize your livelihood to align more harmoniously with your life purpose? Even if you earned less money, would you be happier doing what your soul sent you here to do? I made this momentous choice 24 years ago. I've loved what I've done for a living ever since and have never regretted leaving the corporate world. You can also revolutionize sensuality. What outside-the-box approach would maximize your pleasure in sight, sound, scent, taste, and touch? Physical pleasure is profoundly healing, and of course, it feels wonderful. Awaken to the living earth. Every tree, stone, and stream has a living consciousness that you can connect to. Are you not yet awake to the shamanic middle world, where every physical being has a perceptible energy field and consciousness? Sit quietly with an object that attracts you. Ask to be aware of its living consciousness. It could be your first step into a larger world. I'm excited about Uranus spending another 6 months in Taurus. Which of its numerous high-side potentials will you cultivate? Are you ready to accelerate your healing and awakening with the support of a heart-centered community that embraces and supports you? Awakening Plus is your affordable online sanctuary for profound transformation, with at least a dozen live Zoom events each month and an ever-growing archive of over 850 life-changing events. You'll have powerful support at your fingertips whenever you want it. You'll also get 24/7 access to a vibrant community, personalized guidance, and 6 in-depth courses designed to help you awaken, heal, and thrive. Curious? Tap the link in the show notes or visit awakeningplus.com. That's awakeningplus.com, and put your spiritual awakening on the fast track. Jupiter turns retrograde on November 11th at 11:41 a.m. EST, around 25 degrees Cancer. He'll backpedal for 4 months before turning direct on March 10th at 11:30 p.m. EDT. That'll be around 15 degrees Cancer. The planet of wisdom, growth, and abundance invites you to pause and reconsider your emotional and spiritual foundations. The sign of Cancer, deeply attuned to family and emotional security, encourages you to nurture what already exists rather than chase new horizons. It's a great time to cultivate depth, clarity, and alignment with your core values. Do your ambitions reflect your inner truth, or have they been shaped by others' expectations? This is a great time to make adjustments in areas like financial planning, education, or spiritual direction. What kind of growth authentically nourishes you? Spiritual practices can take on new significance. Cancer's emotionally informed wisdom partners beautifully with Jupiter's philosophical depth. Consider exploring dream work, ancestral healing, or teachings that reconnect you with emotional wisdom. Expand inward to connect more profoundly to your soul and the unseen currents that guide you. Relationships, especially those rooted in biological or chosen family, also come into focus. Jupiter in Cancer enhances empathy and emotional generosity, offering opportunities to heal old wounds and strengthen bonds. This is a time for both giving and receiving care, recognizing the sacredness of emotional reciprocity and honoring the wisdom that emerges from vulnerability. Next, for most people, trauma healing is the quickest and most effective way to accelerate spiritual awakening. That's an important thought to keep in mind as we examine a T-square optimized for healing old emotional wounds. This T-square includes Jupiter, Chiron, Pluto, and Eris. That's Eris, the dwarf planet beyond Pluto. It started on September 23rd, peaks on November 11th, and ends on December 22nd. Pluto and Chiron both have natural associations with shadow work, the process of facing and skillfully healing past trauma. Pluto is Lord of the underworld, where we bury our pain out of sight until we're ready to face it. And Chiron is the wounded healer. Eris, tightly conjunct Chiron, sows discord when it's time for something disharmonious to be faced. And Jupiter is in Cancer, the sign most associated with emotions. Ready for even more intensity during part of the T-square? Mars connects with everyone but Pluto to create a second aspect pattern, further amplifying the trauma healing theme. A Thor's hammer with Mars, Jupiter, Chiron, and Eris starts on November 12th, peaks on the 17th, and ends on the 21st. You might be wondering why trauma healing accelerates spiritual awakening. The answer is simple. Unhealed emotional pain from this life or past lives is like a dark cloud that blocks awareness of the higher realms. Once that trauma is healed, the sun of divine consciousness shines more brightly. In fact, deeper spiritual awakening blossoms in the midst of the healing process. Almost 15 years ago, by divine inspiration, I received an amazing DIY shadow work tool that has helped thousands of people. It's fast, easy, and effective, mainly because it delegates the healing to your higher self. Click the link in the show notes to learn more about this free healing invocation, or as I mentioned previously, you can go to astroshaman.com/invocations. Next, Venus makes 7 aspects to slower planets between November 2nd and November 7th. She and/or Juno, goddess of committed partnership, also form 3 aspect patterns with these slow movers. All the aspects and aspect patterns are challenging, making this an intense time for relationships. Venus's other meanings are also fired up. These include creativity, money, and aesthetic appreciation. With Venus in Libra during most of these aspects and aspect patterns, relationships and creativity get extra stimulation. Hard aspects often bring challenge, but they're also more powerful than soft aspects. A hard aspect, skillfully mastered, can give you a stellar outcome. I just interpreted a T-square with a strong shadow work theme. Venus amplifies this theme as she enters Scorpio on November 6th and squares Pluto on the 7th. This is a powerful time for relationship healing. Relationship healing is also juiced up by a Thor's hammer with Juno, Jupiter, and Chiron. This hard aspect pattern started on October 17, peaks on November 1st, and ends on November 13th. For details on these 11 Venus and Juno events, which all occur during the first week of November, click the link in the show notes. Unlike Venus, Mars makes mostly harmonious aspects with the slower planets. He makes his slow mover aspects over 10 days, October 26th through November 6th. Mars embodies four main drives: warrior, pioneer, sexual being, and entrepreneur. But even with mostly harmonious aspects, be sure to steer clear of his shadow side. This can include anger, violence, and sexual predation. Mars is strongly empowered in Scorpio, a sign he co-rules. Scorpio also gives extra energy to sexuality, a theme it shares with Mars. Mars is happy with primal pleasure, while Scorpio can elevate eroticism into the realm of sacred soul blending. In addition, there's a Mercury-Mars conjunction on November 12th around 6 Sagittarius. This can supercharge your ability to learn, write, teach, and communicate. For details on these Mars events, which mostly occur during the first week of November, click the link in the show notes. Also, selfless service to a worthy cause is supported by two aspects and an aspect pattern with the asteroid goddess Vesta. Both aspects involve the two planets of intuition, so stay tuned for inner guidance. For details on these Vesta events, which are strongest between the 10th and 14th of November, click the link in the show notes. You can more easily enjoy harmony and balance in your life, as well as amplified productivity, thanks to a grand trine with the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. It starts November 7th, peaks on the 17th, and ends on the 26th. Shadow work is one of the themes most strongly energized by three events involving the Sun. He quintiles Pluto on November 11th, quincunxes Chiron on the 15th, and starts a cradle with all three outer planets on the 15th. The Sun will keep aspecting slower planets through November 23rd. All right, that is the first half of November. Coming in my November 16 through 30 forecast, we have a Gods of Change Scorpio new moon, Uranus sextile Neptune, Mercury direct, Saturn direct, and more. My deep dive trauma healing service is your potent opportunity for profound personal transformation. It includes 12 hours of deep dive trauma healing, spiritual awakening, and more. You can do this intensive multi-day experience online or in person. And it includes a full year of ongoing support from my Awakening Plus online membership. Click the link in the show notes to learn more, or go to astroshaman.com/deep dive. Thank you for being here. Once again, I'm Benjamin Bernstein with astroshaman.com. I can serve you with astrology readings, shamanic healing, one-of-a-kind life coaching, and deep dive trauma healing. And as I mentioned, I run the Awakening Plus online membership. You can learn all about this and more at astroshaman.com. Please reach out if you have any questions. My email is benjamin@astroshaman.com, and my number for voice and text is 828-338-9852. I'd love to connect with you. We are wrapping up. If I've earned it, please leave me a 5-star rating, review, or comment wherever you're getting this episode to help others discover it. Thanks again for spending this time with me. I wish you infinite blessings as the stars light your way.